Okay guys, today I'm going to show you step-by-step process of how I make my smoked brisket. It's actually the very first time I have smoked this particular beef brisket. Can you believe that? You're probably saying, what are you talking about? Triple T, you're from Kansas City, you grew up doing barbecue and all that stuff, right? Very true, I have smoked a lot of beef briskets, but I have never smoked an Australian beef brisket. So this is my first time. People say, what's the difference? Beef's beef, right? Well, there's a difference, right? There's a difference. Depends on what the animal's been eating, the lifestyle, the harvest period, were they grain fed and oat fed the last couple of months of their life, right? And kept in a small area. Like, a lot of differences between the way beef cattle are raised. But anyway, so it's my very first Australian beef brisket. We're going to go all the way through step by step, so I hope you stay tuned to the ending. All right, so first thing is to make a dry rub. One of the briskets I have is 7 kilos and the other one is 6 kilos. So you're looking about like a 15-pound brisket and a 13-pound brisket, right? So start with the dry rub ingredients. Now up to you, and I think a lot of you know I don't give my recipes, identical recipes out, because we have a business interest in selling smoked meats. So we're not going to give you a recipe, but you can look up online various dry rub recipes specifically for beef brisket, right? And you can add your own stuff. Now the problem is with most recipes, they call for tablespoons or teaspoons of dry spices, right? I would advise you that anytime you can, use fresh black peppercorns, white peppercorns, coarse sea salt or coarse kosher salt, right? Very coarse. And then any other spices that you're using, like I'm going to use a coriander seed. I'm going to have a little bit of coriander seed. I want to wait and grind this stuff right before I put my rub on. So I want to keep my rubs freshly made from as much seed as I can. And here we got mustard seeds, right? So, and I've got some other stuff. Now there's certain things that you're just going to use the powder, like a typical garlic powder, right? You're not going to use fresh garlic because you want to dry. You can use fresh garlic, but this is all dry rubbed, right? So we want all powdered. Paprikas, right? Onion powder, right? So there's certain things that you're not really going to grind fresh. What I like to do, what I recommend, and then we'll cut this part short and I'll get my rub together, is convert everything to grams. It's really the best way. And if you've got it converted to grams and you make sure you write down exactly what you used in your rub to the gram, right? Every ingredient all the way down. Then you can replicate that exactly, or if you want to make some changes, you can back off incrementally by the gram, right? So all you would have to do, let's say this recipe calls for, I think this recipe says black pepper, actually calls for 4 teaspoons of black pepper. Well, that's, I'm gonna need to figure out how much that is in peppercorns. So I'm gonna take the 4 teaspoons, right? 4, exactly. So what I've got is 9 grams. So now all I gotta do is convert that, right? And I'll have the exact same amount. Before I grind it, I need to know how much I gotta grind, right? So I need 9 grams, is what I'm going for. 9 grams. Okay. So now, I know my recipe is the same as the teaspoon measure, right? So now I can write 9 grams of whole black peppercorns, right? I like to use the coffee grinder. These little things are great for mixing and blending your spices, but not really for grinding the fine powder, right? So, you know, the ground black pepper is fine, but it's not going to have the freshness of the freshly ground, right? Not going to have it. All right. So to me, it's worth it to go ahead and do the conversion to grams and then keep your recipe in grams, right? That way, anytime you can get the seeds or the whole peppercorns instead of the ground already, you know how many grams. It doesn't matter the measurement. The measurement will change depending on the coarseness of what you're using. Just like the salt. The salt's very coarse, and it usually calls for tablespoons of salt, right? Same thing with the white peppercorns, right? Now this recipe I'm using calls for, let's see, 2 teaspoons of white peppercorns. So that's half of what we did in the black. So I know that I need to do is, see, I had 9 grams of black, so now I need 4.5 grams of white peppercorns, right? So what you can do on all of these, in your coarse salts, sea salt or kosher, up to you, just don't use table salt, right? Don't use table salt. Use kosher or sea salt, and it'll come coarse, right? Mustard seeds, coriander. For this particular recipe now, you don't have to use this stuff in your rub. There's actually 3 teaspoons, so I need 1 more. All right. Again, a lot of people like to use real mustard on their meat, right, as a binding agent for the rub. I don't like anything like that. I like to keep everything dry. Now I'm still going to put my onion powder, my garlic powder, my paprika, all that kind of stuff too. But this all needs to be processed, right? This all needs to be ground up. So basically what I got here now is my main dry ingredients, all fresh, right? So much more flavor than just using all pre-ground spices. That's what I recommend. I'm going to still add my other spices, and like I say, I'm not giving the full recipe. You can make your own dry rub recipe. And we know we got 2 main ingredients: salt, black pepper, white pepper, mustard seeds, and some coriander seed. Everything fresh ground, smells so good. And you can just seal that up right now, right? Right now. Keep those flavors fresh. We're going to have all that freshness right on that brisket, okay? Of course, we're going to add everything else. So stay tuned. I'll get this dry rub finished and we'll get the briskets out. Okay, guys, that's basically it. That's the mixture of my dry rub ingredients. Like I say, salt and pepper, definitely crucial. I use a little bit of brown sugar. Some people don't like any sweet on their brisket. Up to you. Like I say, I got some mustard seed in there, some coriander, some different stuff, right? So there it is. So what you can do, what's great about these things, because sometimes your dried garlic powder and onion powder have little clumps and stuff. So I don't need to go back to the grinder. I'll finish with grinding all my seeds. But this thing is really handy for making sure your rub is all blended together. Your stuff in on top. You can smell all the freshness of those freshly ground spices. All right. Say these things are great for just mixing stuff together. They don't do the job of a grinder on your seeds. You really need a good coffee grinder for your seed spices. This is great for getting everything blended together. Any clumps in the garlic powder, onion powder, any of that, paprika, all that'll be taken care of now. That's it. That's quite a bit of rub. That'll rub quite a bit of meat. We'll see how far it goes on our brisket. But yeah, very well blended. Oh my God. Critical. And like I say, you got a rubber seal, Tupperware. I may not use all this, so go ahead and seal it up. That'll keep, if you keep it in a nice dry place, especially in the house, in the air condition, we don't have a lot of humidity, that'll keep for 4 months. So I could have, double, tripled this recipe and made up a big old batch of rub, but this is specifically Kansas City style for beef brisket. That's what this is for. So, you know, I have completely different rubs for pork or ribs, right? I'm going to be doing some bacon, some ham, and then I'm going to put together some barbecue sauces as well. But I wanted to get you to making your own rub, and this perfect brisket rub. Look up your own ingredients, convert it to grams. If you get a little gram scale, I can convert everything to grams. It's easy to do the math and make triple the recipe, just times 3 on the grams, right? Pretty simple to do. And then that way, every time you use your recipe, it doesn't matter if you only got already freshly ground black pepper or you're using peppercorns, right? It doesn't matter because you're going to weigh it out in grams. So it does, the measurement is not going to fluctuate, right? Very important. Convert your recipes to grams. All right, let's get these briskets out. We have 2 beautiful, absolutely gorgeous Australian beef briskets, all right? So I drain the blood off a little bit after I get them out of their wrapped up bag, right? They were all sealed in. The butcher already trimmed all the big tallow fat off, which I wish he hadn't, because I was going to save the fat and make some tallow oil, but that's okay. They're already trimmed. All they need, I'm going to damp them down, dry them up just a little bit, right? So we're just going to get in there. It's going to be a little bloody. Don't worry about it. What I like to do is take a little bit of my rub, mix this moisture off there, chopping board here, and just go ahead and start a little rub on the board, like so. All right, then I can move this puppy on over there. Get that pan out of my way. Now this is not rocket science or anything. This one is 7 kilos and this one's just under 6, but it really doesn't matter because I just want to make sure my rub is coated completely all the way around it. So regardless of the size of the brisket that you're doing, you just want to be real liberal with your rub, right? Be real liberal with your rub. Oh yeah, I can smell them flavors. I want to make sure the other side's a little wetter, right? You want to pat that dry a little bit, you can. I don't want to remove too much of the rub I got on there already, but I'll take a little bit of excess water off the sides here. No big deal if you don't pat them down. I just want to make sure that rub is getting soaked in nicely. See, I think I just made up enough to do what I've got today, but it looks like I've got plenty. So a little excess there, come down the sides. Oh yeah. What a lot of people do at this point, or whatever point they feel like they've got it covered as much as they want, they go ahead and wrap it in plastic wrap or put it in another big bag or something like that, right? Because you need to let this rub sit on there. I like at least 24 hours. Sometimes I do 48 hours to let my rub sit. Now it's not really curing it, although it does have a cure effect because remember we got quite a bit of kosher salt in there and the brown sugar, right? No curing salt, but still it has an effect. What I like to do is make it easy on myself. So instead of having to wrap all this crap up, what I've got right here is a food grade bucket. I use it to put wet brines, right? Put hams in, put pork belly to make bacon. Great for wet brines. I've got 3 of these food grade buckets. This one's been completely cleaned. They're great for dry rubs too, because what you want is you want to get them back in the refrigerator sealed, right? You don't want to open air on them. So what I could do is just take this food grade bucket, that thing is rubbed down now, and slide that brisket right in there. Now, number two. Maybe 12 hours from now, just kind of crack it open and look. If I got any dry spots, didn't get rub, I can add a little bit more rub. Anytime I can do shortcuts and make it easier on myself, and it doesn't change the premium quality of what I'm doing, doesn't change the flavor, anything like that, well, I'm gonna do it. So you look and tell me about putting a dry rub like that in a bucket. Check it out. Now, I didn't have to mess around with putting them back in bags or trying to saran wrap them. I am going to put a nice, tight, locked in, sealed lid. In the refrigerator they go. 24-hour minimum. I like to do 48, so it may be 2 days before I turn the camera back on, pull them out, and we'll start the smoker. Stay tuned. I'll take this pork butts, we'll pull them up. Pork belly, we'll pull them up. Sit right in there, Rich.
You want some more?
No, it's good. No water, dry.
Oh.
Brisket, it's a dry rub. Thank you. Well, that's it, guys. We have our dry rub briskets. Secured, and temperature control is so important. I keep an ice cold refrigerator. Not frozen, but ice cold, right? Oh, we'll pull them babies out of there in 24 hours or 48, depending on how I'm feeling. Either way, stay tuned. We're going to smoke these puppies step by step. Okay, guys, what I'm doing here is a little experimentation. In the United States, we love to smoke our beef with hickory wood. So what I've done is bought some pellets here in Thailand. Obviously there's no hickory trees in the tropics, but these are hickory pellets. So I'm experimenting to see what's the best way to get the smoke. So I had the vents open there. You can see you got some pellets in a cast iron little skillet. I think if I close that off now and close this down, I've already been getting the aroma of the hickory, which for those of you that haven't smoked with hickory, it's got a very, very unique smoke. Flavor, the aroma of hickory, once you smell it, you know it. It's I think the #1 smoking wood for beef. So we haven't put anything in the barrel yet. All right. Well, you can see it's generating some smoke. Oh, the smell of that hickory. Right, so I got the hickory chips, and the cast iron skillet I think is going to work out pretty good. I had the fan on there, right, to get the charcoals nice and hot, but I think I can control it and keep the pellets a smoky. And here's our briskets. I pulled them out of the refrigerator about an hour ago, kind of let them slowly warm up to room temperature. They have been rubbed and sitting in the refrigerator ice cold for about 36 hours. So nice and cured with the Kansas City style rub. I think I'm gonna like this. You can see my pellets are on fire. Let's see how this works out. Those chips are really smoking nice just in a small cast iron skillet like that. I think that's gonna work out great for using hickory here in Thailand. Okay guys, just getting everything prepped for the brisket to go on the smoker here. I like to put an internal thermometer inside so I can get an accurate reading of what I'm going to be doing up here on the top shelf near the lid. I've got a couple of baking pans lined with foil here. I want to catch all of the drippings from the brisket so I can rebaste the briskets later with the drippings. So I've got a couple of pans here, right, to catch all I can of the drippings. But I should be able to get both briskets right up here on the top lid shelf. So I'm going to close it down, let it preheat, and then it'll be ready to go. We'll start putting the brisket on. We're just going with a charcoal fire, guys. I've got some amazing charcoal here in Thailand. It's a hardwood fruit tree, so it does add a little bit of its own flavor, but it's working out really well to put some of these hickory chips just right there in the pan. That works out really well so I can keep adding the smoke. And I've got enough charcoal in there to keep a hot fire for hours and hours and hours. And you can see the charcoal is already ashed over, so we don't have any dirty soot black charcoal smoke, right? All right, we're almost there. Get ready to put them on. Okay guys, it's 5 a.m. and the grill is preheated. I've already tested my hickory pellets, as you saw earlier, so I really like the smoke that I'm getting. Very, very clean smoke. You can't even see it coming out of the stack probably on the camera. I can see it. It's really, really clear, which is what we want. So our charcoal is ashed down, but extremely hot. So we've got a fire on the outside gauges right now at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little too hot. It's all right. I like to start hot. What I like to do on the beef brisket is smoke at 250 to 270. I don't really want it to get higher than 270. I can go lower than 250. For example, if I want to take a nap for a couple of 3 hours, I can go down to 200, 180, leave it closed up and just let them roll. The thing about the brisket, it is one cut of meat that you cook until it's completely done, and then you cook it for hours more. I mean, it's just one of those things that didn't used to be popular, the brisket cut, but now it's extremely popular. You definitely have a long process, so we're going to be at least 12 hours on these puppies, starting now at 5 a.m. All right, let's see. I mean, I just got them out of the dry rub bucket, right? Have them in the bucket. Show you the moisture. So we put the dry rub on them 36 hours ago and put them in this food grade bucket. You can see the moisture content that got drawn out. Not too much, right? Not too much at all. So what I like to do before I put them on the grill is go ahead and take a little bit of my rub. We've got just a little bit left over. And just freshen up the rub just a little bit. No big deal. No big deal. Just a little freshness for those spices. You have to consider these are big pieces of meat, so it's kind of hard to over spice them when all you can do is spice them on the exterior, right? Just freshen that up a little bit. Plenty, good enough. And that'll add to the bark that we want on the outside of the brisket. Okay, like I say, we're running 300 degrees, which is too hot. That's all right. We're fixing to change that when we open her up. It's going to drop off. All right. Nice, hot, chamber. Interior, we are looking at 350 degrees, so we definitely got her preheated. So I wasn't worried about a whole lot of smoke right now because the beef wasn't on there. I'm more worried about the charcoal fire and the temperature, right? So we got that going on. Got my sanitized brisket gloves here that I've already used. Got some of that great rub on there. Take this piece here. Oh my God. And this bigger one, go a little closer to the firebox. That point be closest to the fire, and the flat away. Like I say, I'm gonna really keep an eye on the temperature. I'm gonna get some wood chips in right away. All right, put that interior thermometer back in there so I can make sure I'm getting the exact read. Sometimes your lid gauges can be a little bit off until you get to know your smoker. Best to have an internal gauge. I've got probes as well, but way too early to probe, right? Now, these aren't ice cold. I've had them out of the refrigerator for about an hour. So they're not really room temperature, but they, warmed up a little bit before I put them on the smoker, which I think is critical. Again, rapid temperature change is never good, you know what I mean? Gradual temperature change, much, much better. Now we got at least 6 hours of smoking before I do much of anything else. Alright? If you're looking, you ain't a cooking, so don't be looking too much. Get that tray off of there. So what I want to do now, obviously, is temperature control, which I can do with the damper, and smoke. I want to get that hickory smoker going. The first thing we're going to do is latch her down. Alright. Now with any luck at all, I shall not have to open it for quite a while, but if it gets too hot, I will open it. Alright? So let's get some chips on there. And like I say, I've already experimented with these hickory pellets, and they will catch fire pretty quick. Right, what I've got in there now is basically ash, so I'm going to put a couple of good scoops in there. Our cast iron skillet is hot. We'll go ahead and do 3 scoops. So this is the only smoking wood we're using, but again, the charcoal's got a unique flavor too, because it's a Thai hardwood fruit tree. Alright, now all I gotta do is open that up a little bit and throw my fan on it. Hear the sound? 1, 2, 3. Alright, look at that. See that fire? Them chips is already caught. Turned my fan on just in case, but I think we're already caught fire. Now, I don't wet those pellets or anything ahead of time. Oh yeah, they're already catching fire. So, no need to really get them wet when you've got them in a cast iron skillet like that. You're not throwing them right directly on the fire, right? I'll let those catch a little while. We have some burning hickory chips, guys. So just like when you're using logs, you want your stuff to catch on fire, right? You don't want it to be smothering. It's gonna smoke just like that. I'm gonna close her down. Cut off some fire. Turn the fan off. Get those hickory pellets to smoking a bit more. And that should be it, guys. Not too much work now. For the next several hours, as long as the temperature remains between 250 and 270, 280, somewhere in there, I'm happy. I don't need to open it. I can add some more hickory chips, open that up and throw in some more scoops and close it right back. Got plenty of charcoal to maintain the fire for hours. Been smoking an hour now, and I haven't had to do anything as far as opening the chamber. I've added a little hickory pellets, but just perfect, guys. 250 Fahrenheit, just absolutely perfect. Got her dampered down. If I open it up, you'll see, ooh, clear blue smoke. Huh? What we want, guys. What we want. This is the easy part. Just keep an eye on the temperature and add a few smoking pellets once in a while. Oh, it smells so good. Guys, it's 6:35 a.m. so we've been smoking for an hour and 35 minutes. Pretty cloudy today. Supposed to be a chance of rain, so we don't have much of a sunrise, but our temperature is perfect. I mean, we are perfect, guys. All I've done is add a few hickory chips now and again. You can see, got plenty of smoke rolling. I got her dampered down. I mean, we're getting that lovely infused hickory smoke flavor. I could literally just walk away, I think, for 2-3 hours for sure, because the temperature is just staying perfect with everything dampered down. So yeah, the only thing I would worry about is if it got up, near 300 degrees Fahrenheit, be too hot for me, and then I would crack open the lid and bring the temperature back down and kind of reset things. But we haven't even had to concern about getting too hot. Well, guys, it's been 3 hours and I have not had to open it. Temperature has been great. Smoke is perfect. Every once in a while I'll open the damper and then close her back down. Let the smoke roll. All that infusion in the first few hours, as much as we can get. Okay, guys, they've been smoking for 7 hours. I've opened it a couple times, not too much, and we are at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, so our temperature has stayed really good. I like for it to cool down at this stage because I'm getting ready to take them off there and wrap them up. All right, first let's do some probing and check out the bark. Oh, the juices and the bark and the internal. It's right at 220, so that's good. Perfect. Oh yeah, look at that. Let's probe this sucker a little bit. That bark looks good. Nice jiggle to it. Let's check some temperature here. $160. I want, when I'm completely finished, I want 205. Like I say, the grill is cooled down quite a bit, so in the flat here, 179 in the flat, in the thin, so We still got a ways to go, but we're going to do that after we get them covered. So let me take this one here. Oh, look at that juice. Juice and bark. What I like to do is 3 layers. There we go. I got 2 this way and 1 this way. All right. Let's go ahead and move the other ones so we can get our juices off of here. Look at that. Oh my God. $150. We still got a ways to go, guys. In the flat, $167. Right? So we're not quite soft as butter yet. That's the thing about these briskets. 7 hours of smoke infused. Very, very important. But we are far from done. Feeling me? Look at that. Oh yeah. We want that. So you got the fat tallow, all of that in there. That's what we want, guys. Wrap it up with our butcher paper here. Nice and tight. Just fold that right under. Go right back on there. Right back on there, guys. We'll get the paper for this one. You like the smell of that brisket, huh? I don't blame you. All right, guys, let's get this one, a little bigger one here. Started out at 7 kilos on this one. Oh my God, look at that bark. Is that beautiful? Got a nice jiggle to it, but we're not done. We want 205 internal. Get some more juice out of here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Keep her moist now. You want that flavor. Plenty. Now, we don't have to worry about smoke, so we just need heat. So we can just do charcoal fire, right? Get that temperature back up. I'd like to get it about 250 to 300 range. We need another 5 hours, guys. Can you believe that? That's right, we need another 5 hours. And of course, we'll probe them again here in a couple hours. We don't have to worry about smoking now. We're basically just baking them. And you could do it in the oven, but why do that when I've already got a hot fire going here? Leave it alone. Another 5 hours. That'll put 12 hours total cook time. We may go 11 hours depending on my probe, right? If I'm probing at 205, I'll go ahead and stop the fire, and then we're going to let it rest too. A lot of resting time to go from 205 internal temperature down to room temperature. All right, a bit more charcoal here. No sense in firing up a gas oven when I still got hot coals. And let's put the fan on it there a minute and get that charcoal ashed over and close her down. So as you can see, a little fresh charcoal, got the fan on it, didn't take long at all. Take the fan off of it now, close her up, And like I say, it's, you know, reading 160 degrees internal. That's plenty cooked enough to eat. It's not raw at all, but this is brisket. It's a really tough cut of meat, right? That's why you continue to bake it after it's fully cooked. Now we're going for tenderness, right? Tenderness, and we want to keep it moist. That's why we did the tallow drippings in the butcher paper, and we're going 250 to 300 for another 5 hours, guys. Another 5 hours. And you'd be surprised what a small charcoal fire will do for several hours. If you keep her closed up and all the vents closed, I'll go ahead and leave this one open for a minute until she gets nice and fired, right? When I get ready to pull them off, another 4 or 5 hours from now, we'll probe them. I'll show you the internal temp. We need 200, 205, right? And then I'll show you how I rest them from there, and they would be ready to serve this evening for dinner. But I'm gonna let them rest, cool down to room temperature, and then I'm actually gonna slice and vacuum seal and, you know, preserve most of it. Obviously, Namien and I are not gonna eat 2 big briskets, right? So that's my plan. But if you had a big party and you were serving a bunch of people brisket, you know, starting early in the morning, 5 a.m. like I did, and then finishing, you're resting about 5 p.m., right? Rest it for a couple hours, you'd be ready to carve and serve. It'd still be nice and warm while it's resting in the butcher paper, right? But yeah, you'd be ready to carve and serve for dinner, you know, say around 6 or 7 p.m. But we're not doing that. We're gonna eat a little bit, and then we're gonna preserve the rest of it. We're gonna let it cool all the way down. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let it cool to room temperature, stick it in the refrigerator, you know, the big slabs, stick them in the refrigerator, let them cool even more, and then slice them, vacuum seal them, and freeze them. So that's my plan. So I'll be able to sell this brisket, you know, pre-sliced, fully smoked, ready to serve in a vacuum sealed frozen bag, right? So that's the plan. Stay tuned. Okay guys, it is 3 in the afternoon and our temperature is lovely. So in 2 more hours it'll be 5 p.m. That's a full 12 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and probe them here in about another hour. And when you check the internal temperature, you can also tell about how soft the inside is getting with your probe, right? So we'll be checking that. We may stop the fire at 11 hours here in another hour. 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. is where we're at right now. So 2 more hours will give us full 12, but we may not need that. I'll probe them here at 4 o'clock. At 11 hour mark, I'll probe them, and if I think they're ready to rest, we'll start the resting. Okay guys, it's 4 p.m. so we are at the 11 hour mark. I have not had to open it at all since I wrapped them. There's no reason to open them. They've been wrapped. Temperature's been great. We're looking right at 260 right now on that one, 300 on this one, which I already know runs a little hot. So let's crack her open and do some probing. Oh, it smells so good, guys. Oh, look at the moisture here in the point. Oh my God, soft as butter. Soft as butter. 200, guys. 200. That is perfect. Oh my God, look how soft that is. 210 in the flat. We are good. We are good on both of them. 11 hours, and actually it's 11 hours and 15 minutes because it's 4:15 right now. That's a smaller one, so I know the temperature's great on it. Wrap this one back up and let them rest. Okay guys, we are resting. I just took the one that I didn't unwrap or probe because it's smaller, so I know it's good. It's so nice and hot, guys. So they are basically still cooking. Juice is draining off of them, as you can see, right? Just let them go slow, down to room temperature. It's 90 degrees Fahrenheit out here, so put a fan on them, let them go slowly down to room temperature, and then we'll do some carving. Stay tuned. Here we go, guys. Got the flat, the point. What I like to do is go right here under this point a little bit and stand the knife up there. She cuts pretty smooth, guys. Oh, look at that. Oh my. Is that a thing of beauty or what? I don't have my serrated knife. I just got my boning knife right now, but see what we can do here. Look at that. Oh my. How does it hold? Holds nicely. How does it pull? Nicely. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is delicious. The bark. The fat. The tenderness. Oh. So moist. So tender. Absolutely incredible, guys. So moist, tender, delicious. What are you looking at? Some brisket? I've never tried brisket. What does Triple D think? That good, huh? We already bagged up the first one. Now Min and I just had a slice or two. You want to try the burnt end? It's what you call burnt ends. Here, try this one. I know Thai people don't like the black char too much. You can try, but that's what it's all about. Comes off this piece here, baby. Huh? It won't slice like pretty steak, so it's called the point. You take the point off. Look at that. My God. Well, guys, there's the final product. I throw this in at the end of the video. Lots of vacuum sealed brisket. Just got it nice and ice cold here in the fridge. Lots and lots of brisket. And then we got the burnt ends too. Cubed up burnt ends. Oh yeah. Man, that vacuum seal is the way to go now. So I'll be putting those in the freezer after they get nice and cold. Next, gotta get my pork bellies going, make some more bacon. Stay tuned.